Welcome, Izzy and James, to the Difference podcast.
Kia ora.
Yeah, it's lovely to have you both here.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. So today's episode, we're going to be talking about using your lived experience and your mahi. And you're both peer support workers. We're going to be talking about what that means for your work and like some of the benefits and some of the challenges that might come with being a lived experience support worker. Let's start with you, Izzy. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
That's a broad question. Ko hikaroa te muka, ko waikoiti te awa, ko uruao me ara te uru ka waka, ko waitaha me katima moe me ati haunui paparangi ka iwi, ko pukitaraki te marae, ko Izzy Young toka ingoa.
Kia ora.
I'm Izzy. I live in Nelson. Mm-hmm. I've got 3 beautiful baby girls and a partner, and I've found my way into the world of peer support. I currently work with youth, which is super rewarding. They're all about exploring the world and finding where they fit in it, and it's like I feel pretty blessed to be a part of all these different journeys and watching people make their way.
Yeah. And who do you work for again?
So I work for REAL, which is the youth division of Pathways.
Which is a pretty major mental health and addiction service provider in Aotearoa, right?
Yeah. Yep, nationwide.
So the youth arm. So tell us a little bit about, your day-to-day mahi. What does that look like?
Oh, every day is different, which is what I like about it. But we have a transitional facility. So we have sort of 3 months to a year. We bring the youth in, work with them on their mental health, their addiction, life skills, and basically prepare them to send them back out into the community. And we also have a respite bed for short-term crisis stay. So sometimes we work with low risk, and it's really about creating independent life skills and just showing them how to be. And sometimes it's more crisis work where we're really just trying to keep people alive day to day.
Yeah. And what's the age range for your youth service?
In our facility, we're 15 to 18, 19. Kind of ebbs and flows depending on what people class as a youth.
Yeah. And how did you get into youth work specifically?
I worked with adults for a while. And I found that really challenging. I hit burnout quite quickly, and I found them a lot more triggering.
Yeah.
And then, I saw the job advertisement for youth and thought, I will give it a shot. And I don't think I'd ever go back to adult now. I really didn't see myself as a youth worker, but now that I'm there, I know that's what fits, right?
Yeah, awesome. Why do you think that you were more likely to burn out in the adult space?
Adults are more they're who they are.
Yeah.
Youth are more like they don't know who they are. They want to explore. It's easier to incite change. They don't have as many routines and habits and background noise that they come with. And I'm really I love the gift of people wanting to change. Yeah. I get super frustrated if I'm working with someone and they're not in that space. And so the facility that I work for, it's voluntary treatment. It's, I want to be here. It's, I want to change. Yes, it's going to be hard, but I want that. Yeah. And that's the gift that we get to work with.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. So what you kind of already covered a little bit, but what do you love about your role?
Watching them discover themselves. Identity journeys for me are everything. I love creation stories. I like to know where people came from, how they grew up, what their perspective is on life, what got them to where they are today. It's I'm a curious little creature. So I love that. I love introducing people to to themselves, basically, and watching them discover it and try all these new things. And, and being a part of that is just awesome.
Oh, that's so cool. So what led you into peer support work?
So I have my own lived experience, and I was getting counselling, long-term counselling, and I thought, oh, well, this isn't really fitting, so I'm just going to go be a counsellor and I'll counsel myself.
So many people do that, right?
Age-old thing.
Yeah.
And so I did that. But during my counselling training, I was the thorn in everyone's side because they're teaching how to counsel people with addictions, and I'm sitting there as an addict saying, oh, I don't know that that's how we should work with addicts. And they're going, shut up, this isn't about you.
Oh, wow.
Like, okay. So that was really traumatizing. And then I left and thought there has to be a space where I can use what's in me for a good purpose. This can't all be for nothing.
Yeah.
There's a space for it somewhere, even though I was continuously told in my degree that it didn't exist. And then I worked for some kaupapa Māori services, and obviously it's deep in what we do in our culture. And then, the job with Pathways came up, and even though they were Western models, on paper, they said all the things that matched with my values. Yeah. And they did this peer support thing, and they introduced me to peer support, and I was like, yes, I found it. This is where I was meant to be.
I mean, did you know peer support was even a thing? Did you encounter any peer support workers in your own recovery? Or
No. So even while I was doing my counselling training, my tutors were saying that doesn't exist.
Oh, wow.
Like, leave Izzy at the door. And you're here for the person you're serving. And I absolutely am. Yeah. But also I'm a human. And I really believe in connection. Like, I can't leave myself at a door and expect someone to open up to me authentically if I'm not there authentically in the room.
100%. So at Real, do you have both community support workers and peer support workers? And how do you work together?
So our youth facility is like a bit of a hub. So we have community-based youth workers who will do day support. Then we have youth workers who work in the residential side. I'm currently the only trained peer. So Pathways are really staunch on how we do peer support. Yeah. Everyone comes with lived experience, but if you haven't been trained to use that appropriately, then you're just lived experience through Pathways' eyes anyway. So they do a program called Kia Matara, which trains you to use that intentionally. Yep. So I'm the only peer support in our team.
Yeah, that's so important, hey? Because, I mean, if you are looking at the entire support workforce, I would probably say that most people have their own lived experience, whether their own personal, direct lived experience or being a whānau member of someone with lived experience. That's why a lot of people do this work, because they've seen and walked alongside people who have gone through this journey and they've got the heart for it. Yeah. It's not the money. It's not the money. There's another reason people do this mahi, right? Yeah. There is a definite difference between having lived experience and knowing, like you say, how to use that intentionally as part of your mahi as a peer.
And to keep yourself safe while you're doing it, and the people that you're supporting safe.
Yeah, totally. Thanks, Izzy. Hi, James.
Kia ora.
Kia ora. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Is it right if I start off with my pipia?
100%.
Okay. Ko taki tumiti waka, ko tāwhirirangi te maunga, ko moaka te awa, ko te hoki te marae, ko Ngāti Kāinaniki Wairua tōku iwi, ko Ngāti Pauwera tōku hapu, ko James Huata tōku ingoa, no Raupunga hau, engari ko te pote noho ana e nai nei. Kia ora. My name's James Huata. I come from Rupunga, but I work in Moana House in Dunedin. There's a peer support down there. How I got into that role was I was a resident of the program. Yeah. And then, I graduated the program and they gave me a job.
You must have done something right, eh?
Yeah.
They must have seen something in you.
Yep.
Yeah. And was that a surprise for you?
It was kind of the direction I wanted to head in towards, as coming from lived experience in gangs, prison, and addiction. I did, when I decided I didn't want to do that anymore, there was a direction I kind of wanted to go in.
Yeah.
I didn't know what that looked like. Never done a rehab or program before. So then, when it's a 24/7 residential therapeutic community, and the more I stayed there, the more I actually realised I actually really like doing this stuff.
Yeah. And you've obviously got a knack for it.
Yeah, well.
Humble. They saw something. Yeah.
The good thing about it too is they really encourage education and upskilling and improving yourself. Like Izzy was saying, although we're there to serve someone else, it's important we understand ourselves and have the knowledge to also be able to care for someone. Otherwise, we could be just leading them down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
As well.
And you could also go backwards in terms of your own recovery as well, hey? So the importance of looking after yourself.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit more about Moana House. That sounds really amazing space.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. It's not easy. It's not for everyone. Unless you really want it. Even then, it's still hard to look in the mirror and see the mess you made. Because, at the end of the day, I blamed everyone else for what I was doing, but at the end of the day, it was me. It was me that made that mess, and it was me that had to clean it up. So what we do there is, or what I do there, I pretty much do everything everyone else does except for treat people and try to fix people, which is not what we try to do, but take people shopping, a bit of an ear. I'll be an ear for people to talk to. And coming through the program myself, there's many others there like me that have graduated and worked there. Coming through the program myself, you then become like a role model for the others. They can see what's possible.
This is a bit of a tuakana taina kind of a project.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like, for me, a peer support, when I was in the program, the peer support person was like the bridge that got me to start trusting these clinical people with all these degrees and no lived experience. Because for me, in my victim stance, I'll be like, oh, you don't know what I've been through. You don't understand. So then I will connect with peer support that with lived experience that do understand. And then it will help build that bridge to then connect with the clinical people. And as you do start building those bridges, you do see that actually they do understand, you know. Like you said, we all have our lived experience in some sort of way, whānau member, or,
And do you guys have any training, like as he was saying, around how to use your lived experience safely in your mahi?
Yeah, for sure. We do a lot of training. There's a lot of staff training within the whare as well, external services. So me, myself, I went through Polytech Level 4 Mental Health and Addictions. And now moving into, I've just started studying this year, Applied Addictions.
Cool.
Which is level 7 through Te Takitaki.
Yeah. Fantastic course that. Yeah. Oh, all the best for your studies, James. That's awesome. Yeah. And did you guys ever think that this would be a role that you would end up doing? No way.
On the drive here, actually, Izzy asked, like, did you ever think we would do this? And I was like, if someone was to tell me this 10 years ago, I probably would have tattooed the other side of my face just to be like, never, but glad I didn't do that because it's sore getting it removed.
Yes. What about you, Izzy?
It's kind of like sometimes I feel like life is just not real. Like it, or not that it's not real, but just bizarre.
Yeah.
I've got to stop and take the moment in and be like, yeah, okay, I am here. And I made this happen. Because sometimes I think I just like fell down. I feel like my whole life I've just fallen down whatever's kind of in front of me. Like I'm a mean opportunist. So like whatever's in front of me, I'll go for.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got to pinch yourself a little bit. Like look at the cool stuff that we're doing. Like, and that makes me feel like other people believe in me.
Yeah.
And makes me want to inspire another generation of mean support workers and peer support workers.
Yeah, because there's going to be people out there, there are people out there right now who are, in similar situations to where you were 10 years ago.
Oh, for sure.
Who won't be able to envisage where they could be.
Yeah, and like one of the things that I found in this new life is that there are a lot of people out there that actually care. Like when I grew up, I thought no one cared about me, no one loves me, no one whatever. But actually, I do see that a lot of people do care. And I used to tell all the people I work with that we got the same probation officer. I still go to I still report to probation. And me and you got the same probation officer, but people believed in me and that not only me, but the program that much that they are willing to then let me start caring for you. Yeah. It was one of those bizarre moments that I actually really had to take in.
That's so awesome. Not everybody's going to know, James, what Moana House is.
Yeah.
Are you able to just explain a little bit about the work that they do?
So Moana House mostly cares for men. However, there is a team there, whānau ora navigators, who care for the wider family of the tangata whaiora or the tāne in the program. What they kind of do is you live there 24/7. You got 24/7 care. It's an intense program, you're busy all day, every day. But yeah, it's a 24/7 care, mostly for men aged between 17 and before you go to the graveyard. But yeah.
And it's tāne that have had a connection to the criminal justice system generally, yeah?
Yep. So it's a self-referral process that you go through as well. There are 4 stages to the program. Whakaoho, which is like, the awakening. You first get there, you're kind of like, you're just fresh into the program. Then ahuatanga, which is where most of the mahi is done, where you work on yourself, you look at yourself. Mohiotanga stage of the program is then when you show a bit of autonomy where you can behave consistently over a certain time, then you get to go try that out in the community. You can go work, you can go study, you can even return back to where you're from and stay with your family, but still stay connected to the program or the whare moana. Then mana motu ake, which is, self-governance. So you're you're still connected to the service, or you're still under the umbrella and you're still cared for in a real loving way. But you then can do what you take care of yourself, be out there, start living your life, and then you graduate.
That's awesome. And how long is that program? Is it as long as it takes, or?
Pretty much as long as it takes. Although it is a 12-month program, a lot of people stay there longer than 12 months because, you think about it, myself, I've been 32, I decided to change. So that's 32 years minus, the young years, but 32 years of pretty much chaos and then trying to decide, I want to do better. How can you do that in 12 months?
Yeah. It's a long, it's a whole lifetime of habits and ways of dealing with things and viewing the world that you've got to kind of counter, hey? And so what kind of what made you want to change?
What made me want to change was a whole combination of a lot of things. Just some of the trauma I went through. I have a 15-year-old son and I gave him a patch when he was younger. And one day he gave it back to me and he said, I don't want to be a patch member, Dad. And it was like one of those moments where I thought to myself, what am I doing?
Yeah.
What am I doing?
What a brave kid, hey?
He said, this was his words too. He come out crying and he said to me, I know you don't love me anymore, but I don't want to be a patch member.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
And so what did you do in that moment?
Well, I just hugged him, told him, sorry, my boy, I love you. I took my patch off because we were actually going for a ride to Auckland. I took my patch off, put it down, and we jumped in the car and we went to Auckland. Yeah.
And what did you do in Auckland?
We went bungee jumping.
Oh, way.
Yeah. We went bungee jumping
off the Sky Tower?
Off the bridge.
Oh, the harbour bridge.
The harbour bridge.
Whoa.
Yeah. We were actually going to Auckland to do something else.
Yeah.
Like, some criminal activity. But what we ended up doing was we went to time zone, went out for dinner, we jumped off the bridge, done some family events.
Good work, Dad.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of a pivotal moment for you.
Yeah, one of many. One of many.
Yeah. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that.
Thank you.
Yeah. What about you, Izzy? Share as much or as little as you want to about your own journey, but, what was kind of the turnaround point for you?
Probably the same as James. Like, there were a few moments. A lot of what I got up to was over in Australia. And, yeah, there was a moment, same with my daughter. An incident happened with my ex-partner. He was quite violent towards me and did some stuff in front of her as a toddler. And I just, in that moment, was like this like packed up pretty much my whole life that night and was on the next plane out of Perth.
Wow.
Admittedly, like, was running scared for my life, but that was it. From that day, I kind of couldn't go back after seeing it in your kid. You just like,
Good work, Mum.
I was pretty lucky too, though, that I had, for me, like, being able to leave it back there was everything. And I really, the youth I work with and people I work with now, they don't have that luxury. Like, I honestly, everyone goes, oh, you're so strong for leaving that. No, I moved countries. I had no connections here except for my whānau, who are pretty, they've got the intergenerational trauma stuff, but they're pretty solid.
Yeah.
I could come home to them and they loved me and they gave me a place to stay and help me sort my life out.
Environment. Start fresh.
Yeah. And I'm so grateful for that. And so I watch people trying to leave their addictions or leave the violence in their own community, and they don't get that luxury.
Yeah.
And so, helping them build 10 feet walls around them while staying in the same community.
Yeah. Is that something that you've also had to deal with, James?
Yeah, for sure. One of the things I'm really conscious of now is like who I hang out with. I make sure, like, I kind of learnt this experience early on when I first went to the program. When I got there, I gravitated towards people that I've always gravitated towards, like, not very, they weren't really caring about change. Although I wanted change, this circle was comfortable for me to be in, this negative circle. It was all I've ever known. And I remember one day I was sitting on the couch and I was talking to this fella, and he was talking about the same stuff that we always done. And I remember looking at him, and then this fella walked past. He's a clinician, practitioner at the footy. But I remember looking at him and he was going home. He's going home to his wife and his family. And I looked at him and I looked at this fella talking, and I thought, he's going back to prison. This guy's going home to his family. And I thought, in that moment, I thought to myself, oh man, I need to start hanging out with people like that. Because I know that saying, if you hang out with 10 addicts, you'll be the 11th, or, 6 people who are doing something. You're going to end up doing what they're doing. And I sort of thought to myself, I told him straight up too. I said to him, oh bro, you're going back to jail. I'm going to go start hanging out with these fellas. And he just sort of said, yeah, you'll be back, kind of a thing. But as I don't hate on him or whatever it is. That's his path. That's what he wants to do. I don't judge him. But for myself, I wanted to start going home to my family.
And you got a new wife too.
Yeah.
Congratulations on your recent marriage.
Thank you.
Very exciting times. Yeah. I wanted to ask you both what you think is different from peer support work or general community support work.
For me and the work I do with youth, I see youth being challenging towards other staff members, and they go, you don't understand. And I've found there's no more powerful tool than when I've got a youth in front of me going, you don't understand, to go, actually, like, what do you know about me? And that makes them curious, right? And they start asking questions. And that leaves them nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
Like they're going, I can't do it, it's too hard, or this world doesn't love me, or no one cares, or I've had the hardest hand dealt to me, like there's no coming back for me, it's all doom and gloom.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
But I'm here now, and if I can do it, then you can do it.
Yeah, cool. What about you, James? What do you think is different between peer support and community support work? Not dissing community support workers, right? Because, you know, they bring amazing skills and experiences as well. But what do you think kind of sets the two roles apart?
More like when I first came into this space, because I come from a place of you don't say nothing, keep your mouth shut. It was more of that bridge for me. Those our peer support worker with lived experience was like, that's where I would test myself. Like I'll test things before I'd be like, oh yeah, but what if I was to say this? And then he'll be like, oh yeah, I told him that too. Yeah, I done that. And I'm like, oh, okay. Then I'll be like, then I'd see how they would treat them.
Yeah.
Like the peer lived experience would treat people without lived experience. And I could see this little connection there. And then I could see, then he was going home to his family too, the guy with lived experience. He was starting to go, not starting to, but he was always going home to his family as well, which is something I wanted. And I'd be like, oh yeah. So if he trusts them, then surely it must be safe.
Yeah.
Because that's pretty much all we want, is can we trust you? And you come from a scandalous background when you're the one doing all this devious stuff. You think everyone else is doing it.
Yeah.
So you don't trust them, but actually, it's you that you don't trust.
What would you guys like clinicians and other people working in mental health or addiction to know?
Personally, I see people without lived experience, like that don't have lived experience but work in this role. They're important too, because they can teach us to live. They can teach us how someone who doesn't come from that can live in this world. So like my mokos, when they come in, I can raise them so that they don't have to suffer from intergenerational trauma.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
They're important too.
They sure are. What about you, Izzy? What would you like clinicians and other people working in the sector to know?
I find in my job we have a love-hate relationship with a lot of clinicians.
Yeah.
Mainly, I think it's better to have 4 straws than one, right? So everyone's got knowledge of a sort. And I see the value in their knowledge, but often that's not reciprocated. And that's especially challenging when, like, in a residential facility, I'm with these youth 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. I know them inside out. I see them in their natural habitat.
Yeah.
I've got some stuff to offer you, insight, and to help you understand them. And often I'm like bridging that communication gap, because we go into like reviews or hui with clinicians, and they have this piece of paper in front of them and they go, right, and how was this week? And what did you eat? And who did you meet with? And blah, 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 blah. And and they don't even look at the youth. And the youth aren't going to open up to them. And then the clinician goes, oh, well, they didn't have a lot to say, so I guess we'll go with this. How do you make a judgment of someone if you can't, you need that rapport?
Yeah.
And so I'd just like them to see the value that support workers bring, and to use that to create cohesive care for the people we're supporting.
What do you guys think that managers and leaders need to consider when hiring peer support workers?
I think they need to have solid foundations. I think managers need a good foundation to manage people generally. And, us peer supporters, we're quirky. We come with, a few cool bits. And managers need to know how to work with that. Yeah. And see that as a gift instead of it being a thorn in their side.
What do you think, James?
I'd say diversity. Look for diversity. You know, like there's a lot of people out there that need help. Pacific Islanders, Māori, Pākehā, Asian, Indian, you know, a lot of different religions out as well, you know. So diversity, look for diversity within your staff. If you have a staff full of a lot of lived experience, but also not, and then you have a range of diversity, different cultures and religious beliefs within that, you've got a good team there.
Yeah, why do you think that that's important?
Well, if, say you get someone come into your service from who's Pacific Islander, whose first language is Samoan or Tongan or Cook Island, you know, that's his first language. English is then his second language. He would understand things more within his first language. Also, considering the disconnection from their culture. Why did they go down this path? You know, how can we help them get back on their natural path? Someone with their language as well as their culture could show them that. You know, instead of reading it from a book, oh, this is how you should behave because you're Māori. This is what Māori used to do. Actually, you know, I learned from seeing. So if I'm seeing how a modern Māori man should be, that's how I will learn. I might not even ask him a question about anything he's doing. I'll be just observing.
Yeah. And Izzy, I know that for you, reconnecting with your Māori culture was an important part of your journey as well. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
100%. It saved my life. So while I was studying, I was diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder, which is the new name for multiple personalities, which is basically based upon the things that I see and feel in this world that doctors called hallucinations and not there.
Yeah.
And during a lecture one day, we had a Māori guest tutor, and she was telling a story about her daughter, and it connected with me. So I remember going up to her in the break, bawling my eyes out, telling her about my story. And she touched me on the shoulder and she says, "Oh, my girl, you're not broken. You have a gift. You just don't know how to use it." Life-changing, because like the week before that, I'm pretty sure I'd actively tried to kill myself.
Yeah.
Because I was weighed down by these labels, and not just the labels, but what that brings for you. So I almost had my kids removed from my care. You know, my partner was going to leave me. I was ruining my family. I, never thought I'd work again, especially not with that kind of label.
Yeah.
And it was all because I'm Māori, and that's very normal. We are, everything is connected. And I felt that intrinsically my whole life, but always been told, don't be ridiculous. Now, there are some stories I could tell that just, they're pretty uncanny. Even I'm like sometimes, oh, okay, what?
Yeah.
And because everyone around me was telling me that was dangerous and that was not true, I started to think that of myself. Like, I'm making this stuff up. And yeah, discovering that put me on a new path to do my whakapapa, to connect with my whānau I didn't know, to put my feet on my whenua and on my marae, to give that experience to my mum as well, who, was not raised Māori either, who has deeper wounds than me about culture.
Yeah.
And to stand here today and say, like, I'm not medicated, and I live my life through culture and through daily activity, and that's how I keep myself well. I just didn't think that was ever going to happen for me. And not because of my internal experience, but because of the world around me and where I was put. And I think something that's not studied enough and needs a lot more looking into is the intersectionality between cultural perspectives and Western perspectives. Because the sad thing is, I'm just one of, I would say, thousands who are drugging themselves every day, drinking themselves every day because they don't know how to sit with what they've got.
Yeah.
And now that I can sit with it, oh, what a gift it is. What a gift it is. And I'm still learning, but just now that I know that it's okay, I'm okay.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thanks for sharing that, Izzy. Peer support is something that's been really topical at the moment. We've got a Minister of Mental Health who's really pro peer support, and we're starting to see peer support being rolled out in different places like emergency departments around the country. What do you guys think that this is going to do for our tangata whaiora around the country? Do you think this is the way we need to go?
Yeah, I reckon having an opportunity like this is actually really good for people who end up in services like myself, decide, I don't want to do that anymore. Well, what can I do? It's actually really good, to have an opportunity like this, and then I think to myself, well, what was all that I went through? Why did I go through? What was it for? And then now I use it in this way. It's it gives me that sense of purpose in life, kind of like like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Like I didn't go through all that for nothing, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's because when you're at your worst, and you're thinking, well, okay, I want to turn things around, but what kind of careers are open to me after what I've gone through?
Yeah.
This is one.
Yeah.
This is one, and there's not a lot of options.
I never thought I'd be employed again.
Yeah.
Unless I was opening my own company or something like cleaning. I never thought I'd be employable.
Yeah. Yeah. In this career, you can bring all your ugly bits and use them to your advantage. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's kind of a job that it's not really a job. There are times when you get those people who are a bit hoha that, make you earn your money.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of times when it's just it actually gives me something other than money. It actually gives me personally something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm lucky to be a chairperson for a peer support organisation, Balance Aotearoa, based in Wanganui. And some of our staff have said, we got the best job in the world. It doesn't even feel like work sometimes. But trust me, you are working. You are working. And, that's why I think it's important for, that training, so that you know how to use your lived experience safely, hey?
Yeah, safely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
I think we've had 100 years of asylums and doing it the way we've done it, right? And there's a trajectory and it's going down, it's not going up. So what have we got to lose by trying this and going all in on it?
Yeah.
Can't make it any worse. And from what I've seen, the pilot programs that they are running and stuff, have had amazing feedback. They've got doctors and ED going, holy moly, we love having you here. That's how you get peer support recognised.
Yeah, we just need to, I think, make sure that the peer support workers who are going into these traditionally pretty clinical spaces, that they are fully supported, hey, so that we're not setting them up to fail. And part of that is changing that attitude towards peer support workers. What are they actually there for? Is there a purpose to the role, or are they just there because it's the new fad? Or I think a lot of clinicians. There are a lot of clinicians who know about peer support and really understand it, but I think there still needs to be a little bit of conversation, hey, about and training about the value that peer support brings, and the skill, it's an actual skill to use your lived experience in your mahi. So what does the future look like for you guys?
I'd like to keep studying. I'm gonna study till I die. Once I finish studying all the psychology things, I'll move on to rocks or something cool like that. But
actual rocks.
Yeah, actual rocks.
Cool.
Yeah. I'd like to do a master's or something in Indigenous psychology. And again, it's probably from quite a selfish lens to understand myself more, sticking with that. I'm going to be my own counsellor.
Yeah. You're still on that path.
Yeah. But yeah, changing the world at the same time.
Mm. What about you, James?
So I'm studying Te Takitaki level 7 at the moment. When I went home back to where I'm from for my wedding, there was a lot of talk of change back home, which was actually quite surprising for me. The Worrell district has been a particular way for a long time, but actually, home is where the heart is, and I love that little neck of the woods. Yeah, I would love to be able to, even if it's just one person, I would love to be able to go home and just help that one person.
Yeah. Awesome. Is there anything else that you guys would like to say about peer support or what it means to you?
I don't know. I think I'd just like people to know that if you think you can't, give it a go anyway. Like, there's nothing stronger than human connection. Nothing in this world. And if you've got a story and you've got a heart, you're going to be great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think peer support is vital in this line of work. For myself, it was the bridge that helped me connect one island of gang mentality, criminal addiction, to the land of a good life. That was what peer support done to me. It helped me cross that bridge over to actually live in society without creating any more victims.
Well, that's a wrap. I'm Alexia Black. Thank you for listening to this episode of The Difference, a podcast for support workers in mental health and addiction in Aotearoa, New Zealand. Be sure to listen to the other episodes in the series and check out the resources and links for more information. Just want to take a wee moment to let our listeners know about the brand new section that we've created on the Te Pou website. It's dedicated just to mental health and addiction support workers. We've been busy the last few months pulling together a whole bunch of learning opportunities and resources and putting them all in one place, making them super easy for support workers to find. So whether you're wanting to access some professional development or just learn from the experiences of other support workers, make sure you go and check out the new space on the Te Pou website. I hope you find it helpful. Mā te wā. See you next time.